My name is Ellen Lind. I'm the principal architect and owner of Forward Architecture LLC, which is located on the Front Range, halfway between Denver and Boulder in Arvada, Colorado. And I want to tell you a little bit about our firm and also what we do, and also my goals with this new YouTube channel that I am launching this week. Hi, so let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I have been living in Colorado since 2015. I've always had a connection with Colorado and used to visit a lot of times because we had a lot of family in Colorado. My grandparents lived for several years in Colorado, and so my grandmother had several siblings that also lived in Colorado. And we'd come out to see family and every few years, and I fell in love with it. And then in 2015, moved to Colorado. I remember hearing stories from my grandmother about the weather in Colorado, and I've lived it firsthand myself. I remember one time uh, I was doing an internship in Colorado years ago, and um, it was 60 degrees in the morning and a blizzard in the afternoon. And it just these are things that make Colorado special, in my opinion. I remember my grandmother telling me about how in 1950 in June, she and my grandfather had snow up to their windowsill um, in June in Morrison. And, other times a year, it could be January and you're in short sleeves. It's just so unpredictable and everything changes. It's always beautiful. And so I just have always had a big heart for Colorado. Now, to tell you a little bit more about myself, I have both a bachelor's of science in architecture and fun random fact. I actually was a double major in German. It was two classes on top of the minor to be a double major. And I was like, why not? So I was a double major. Um, have I ever really professionally had a need or use for it? No, but they were really desperate for language majors, so they made it really easy to be a double major. And then I got my master's in architecture. I actually got it from University of Oregon in Portland. That was a really interesting experience because it was just the upperclassmen and graduate students. We were in downtown Portland and able to really learn and see architecture. Our professors were local professionals, so that we were really learning, practicalities, not just, theory in the field. And so I really, really was blessed by that. And then I lived for several years after that with family in California, and then moved to Colorado in 2015. So that's my life history in a nutshell. Um, so in 2018, 2019, I've been working for different boutique mom and pop architecture firms, and I was really seeing areas where the whole process could be improved and wanting to make those improvements. But, I'm just a drafter. And so I had my architecture license, and I ended up deciding to go on my own, really launching at the beginning of 2019, and really just making this, how can I improve the process? How can I make it less stressful, less decision fatigue, and really just make the design so that we can get the solution that the clients really want and love in a way that is efficient and it's not going to cause burnout in the design process. And, burnout does happen. I've seen it, it happens, but the more that I can reduce it, the better. And the more that we can make it so that it's a fun experience and not one that is draining is the goal. So, what is a design persona? So, the design persona is what I describe the process of going from tons of decisions to really honing into what makes you special, what makes your home special, and really honing in and celebrating those things. What are the things that we want to target? What are the things that we want to celebrate? What are the things that we want to work with in the existing property or home? And what are the things that really are important and valuable to you? Like, what are the colors that you gravitate towards? What are the palettes that you gravitate towards? One person might love the cool tones, another person might love warm tones. How can we incorporate that in the decision process and really honing it in so that we can narrow down the decisions so that every decision is much clearer, more clear cut, and we can say this is the style, this is the colors, this is the process and the priorities for this home. Now, how does this work? So the process that I go through is, sometimes this is just me in conversation, asking pointed questions so I can internalize this on the back end. Sometimes my clients never even see the design persona. Other times I'm showing it to them because I want them to use it to be able to move forward with it. So it's a series of targeted questions, really honing in of what is the style of the client, what is the style of the project, and what is the style of that really hones in so that every decision is, much more clear cut. Just as an example, when it comes to choosing the lighting fixtures in the space, if you have that design persona, you're not faced with tons and tons of options. We can narrow it down and say, okay, this is the brands that we should be looking at based off of the design persona, the priorities with the budget, the priorities with the style, and this is the color of metal that we should be looking at for the project because this is the color of metal that really works the best in this property. We're not going with what is the latest fad, we're going with what works the best with the property. The best with that room, the best with the property, the best with the building, what works the best. Because we want this to be a home that you love for years to come. It's timeless and reflects you and not one that's going to feel dated in 2 years. Because you're investing money into your property. This is an investment. This is not a fad. Now, I want you to subscribe below because I'm going to be doing a video where I'm going to go into more detail, show you an actual project example, and the process of going from like all these decisions to very honed in. I'm going to use actually a bathroom remodel for that. So that's going to be coming up in probably in the next 4 weeks. So subscribe below so you don't miss it, okay? One of my overarching goals with the whole process and the design is to reduce the decision fatigue for you. This became really important when I was walking my parents through their remodel in their process of moving back to Colorado back in 2018. I was walking them through it and they were out of state making decisions. And I remember the day that happened that the contractor who I was sort of doing construction administration for my parents, coordinating between the contractor and the owner, the contractor's like, I need them to make a decision on the carpet in the next 24 hours. And my mom was freaking out. She's out of state. She doesn't know how it's going to look in this space. She doesn't have this design persona. She doesn't have this framework, and she's having decision fatigue through the whole process. And I'm like, how can I make it so that future clients are not running into the same issue where they're stuck with, I have to decide on the carpet in 24 hours because it has to be ordered tomorrow and it needs to be installed to stay on schedule. So I want to reduce the decision fatigue, and the best way to do that is to make every decision as much as we can during the design process by formatting and saying, hey, let's make a decision, this decision, no, we don't need to make that decision, and really getting clarity. And I do this, the secret sauce to this, obviously, spreadsheets. So I work with the clients and say, okay, here's the things I need you to make decisions on. And here is each phase of when we're going to make decisions on this so that we have clarity and there's not like an overwhelming of decisions. It's like, okay, this week, these are the decisions that we're making. We used to go from the big picture to the detail. And by having this clarity of saying, this is the decisions I need you to make, here it is. Okay, we're designing this bathroom and we're designing it around the soaker tub. We need to decide on the tub first. That's the priority. Let's pick the tub and then design the space around that, just as an example. And so the more we go from the sketchy big picture to the detail, we're able to reduce decision fatigue because it's like a snowflake. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. There's this method of writing called the snowflake method, where you go from the big picture to the detail by adding more and more details. And that's how a snowflake is created. You start with a snowflake where it's It's got all these sides, and then it goes more and more and more and more detail, adding more details and more clarity as it crackles out and out and out, creating this complex shape where it started out very, very simple of this 5-pointed or 6-pointed or 4-pointed shape. Think about, you're just cutting out the snowflake. You just cut it out, and it's like it starts very simple and it goes more and more complex as you add more and more details into it. And that's what we want to do with the design process, is we want to go from the big picture to the details. Whether you're working with me or another architect in the design process of really making your vision for your home come to life, our goal is to see your vision come to life, not our vision. And to take your vision and to bring it to a new level and to tweak it so that it even serves you better than maybe what you initially thought of. And the way we do this is we take, what are the parameters? What are we working with? What is the priorities? Like, how are you using the space? What are the pain points in the property? And then finding a solution that meets the needs, and maybe it's a better solution than you initially thought of. Now, as an example, one of my clients, Marty, I'm currently working on the design process with him. He lives right next to the freeway. I mean, literally the freeway is in his backyard. His back fence is not a fence, it's the freeway wall. And so there's a lot of freeway noise. And not only that, he's in an older ranch house. I think it was built in the early 1960s. And I apologize for the birds in the background. They're just getting chatty, and I want to get this video done. They're in the next room, and they're just having a conversation. So sorry. It is. All right. So anyways, let me tell you about Marty. So, we started this process just a couple weeks before Thanksgiving, and we're working with the existing house. It's got a tiny, really bad condition, 1-car garage that's attached, but it's because it's slightly on a hillside, there's no access between the garage and the house because it's about 4 feet lower than the house. And then it's a, main level house. And so what we're doing is we're rebuilding the garage in the existing location, expanding it a little bit, making it a little bit longer so we can add in some stairs in the back, some storage, so that we have access to the backyard from the garage, and we also have access to the house. And then we looked at the house of how can we adjust this. This is an existing house, 1 bath, 3 bedroom, tiny starter home from the 1960s. And like, how can we adjust this? How can we make this so it serves his needs, but also makes it resellable in the future? And so we adjusted things, added on a small addition to the front because the garage sort of pushed forward in front of the house. So we just pulled the house forward to match the garage. I'll go into more detail another time. But anyways, we just made adjustments, flipped the living room and the kitchen so that the kitchen's in the noisier part of the house and the living room is in the quieter part where he can watch movies. We expanded one of the bedrooms to become a master bedroom, and then we're working to create his vision, create it come alive. And he's planning on building it himself, this addition. And so we're working in details with even materials that he already has to really hone in so that this really reflects what he wants and his vision come to life, okay? Because truthfully, it's about your vision. I remember in college, I had a classmate who every single project, he was obsessed about this fad that was really, really popular in the mid-2000s of every project had to have 1 red wall. That was his signature, that was his style. I'm like, no, this is about you. Your style, what's appropriate for the project, what's appropriate for the property, and what's appropriate for what you want, and because your vision come to life. Now that could be mid-century modern, that could be more traditional, that could, your traditional home, that could be, that's been popular since the 90s, especially in a lot of residential neighborhoods, your typical, cookie cutter home. It could be a more mountain style. There's a lot of possibilities, but we want to make this reflect what you love and what's important to you. The vision for Forward Architecture is to help your vision for your home come to life, not just for your home, your property, but the vision you have for the future, the vision how you're going to use this space, and the vision what you see for this space to come forward. That's the whole that's the reason why I chose the name Forward Architecture, because I want us to move you forward into the vision and not be stuck in the it's not there, it's not done. So the goal of this channel is I want to help prepare you for everything that I want you to be more educated, more prepared, so that when you're starting the design process, whether that is as small as a bathroom remodel, a hall bathroom remodel, that can be a pretty small project, to a massive new home construction, I want you to enter it prepared, informed, and educated, so that you can go into it with confidence and assurance. And if you want to talk to us more about your project, I'd love to talk to you. You can set up a discovery session with me, or follow along, subscribe. I can't wait to just share this journey with you, from just learning, gathering information, to saying this is the vision, this is it. I see it on paper, I see it in renderings, design. I know I can't wait for this to be built. And then the joy of being able to say, hey, this is final construction. I've moved in. I just had a client move into their home after being under construction for a little bit. It was an interior remodel. We were gutting out the interior, and they're so excited to be back in their home, back in there, no longer couch surfing with family, and just be back in their home, their beautiful new living room, kitchen, and powder room, everything remodeled. And I can't wait to tell you about it. I'm going to be visiting with them and taking photos and video in a couple weeks after the New Year's, and so I can't wait to tell you about it. And just, I'm so excited. And no matter where you are on the journey, I can't wait to walk it with you, and just reply in the comments of where you are in the journey of making your home your dream home. So there it is, upgrade your home to fit your life.